Well, hello again, dear friend. Welcome back. Today's going to be the Doorways of No Return. I'm Zach Treby. I help drummers build successful careers playing the gigs they really want to play, the high paying gigs. So, in order for them to be happy and build the lives they want, because it's totally available no matter what anyone tells you. And that's exactly what I'm going to get into today. All right, so we're going to get a little deep today, okay? So, the doorways of no return. You know, everyone has events that happen in their lives, okay? And that could be anything from, usually it's an event where they were told that they couldn't do something. Maybe you've been told, oh, you can't be a drummer for a living. That doesn't pay anything. Well, the reason why they say that is, number one, they can't see that themselves. That's not on you. That's on them, and you should still do it anyway. That's what I encourage people to do. But the reason why that's in the event that happens when let's say you were told that. Well, you probably looked at that as, oh, that's the last straw. And then you said, screw it, and I'm going to do it anyway. And yes, you'd be 100% right. Not only would you be 100% right, you'd be 1,000% right, because you should never let anyone dictate what you want to do, okay? I'm telling you, if you want to make lots of money being a drummer, you could totally do that. But before I get to that, usually we have events that just kind of catapult us. It could be a divorce. It could be, being told you can't do this, you can't do that. Maybe you're at a job you hate, and usually it's a I've had enough kind of thing. And that's when people seek out like guides, right? And, not heroes, because really, the customer or the person is usually the hero, okay? So what I mean by guides is, for example, in Star Wars, I happen to be a Star Wars fan, so I'm going to use that. You have the hero, Luke Skywalker, in the story, right? And, he's got a little bit of a problem, right? Well, and then the guide shows up, right? First it was Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then it was Yoda. Because he's had enough. He's like, oh, my aunt and uncle are murdered, and I gotta go, take down the bad guys, right? Darth Vader and all those dudes, and he does. And he succeeds because he had the help of a guide, okay? And, when you've had enough, and you say, screw it, and, you know what you got to do, usually the guide appears, right? And that's pretty cool, and this really kind of does fall into something else where we all have like chapters in our lives, right? So, for instance, right, and I'm going to say, let's say you said, screw it. The event happened and you're like, screw it, I'm going to do this. And you start building your chapters. And what this could look like in a gig-ready drummer sense is, going from these gigs to better gigs to these gigs and then the better gigs, all those things. So, and then you begin that whole chapter process, and usually it takes a little bit, but that's okay, because really you want to enjoy the process, right? So that's kind of like the whole premise of what I'm talking about here is, the doorways of no return, and then the guide, and that's something where, that's why we have coaches and mentors and teachers and instructors, Now, I gotta say, the guide is a little different, okay? The guide is going to not do the work for you, okay? The guide is just going to help you along. He's going to kind of give you that motivation or encouragement. He's going to see to it that you're taken care of. He's not going to do the work for you, right? And that's something that a lot of coaches and teachers and what have you, they try to be the hero. It's like, no, the hero is the person that needs the help. That's the hero, right? For instance, the people that I coach, or you know what? I'm not even gonna take the coaches. Let's take the younger kids, like the students, right? So forget my coaching clients for now. I'll get to them in a minute, but let's take my young students, which I teach. Okay, the cool thing about them is, I'll ask them, hey, what are you having an issue with? And what's funny is they'll tell me, and whatever it is, I'll say, okay, well, here's how to go about it. Notice I didn't try to be the hero and, say, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that, blah, 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 blah. And, in other words, they have a voice. And that's important, to let their voice out, okay? To let them have their voice. That's the thing, okay? They're the hero, not you. Not the coach, not the mentor, or the guide. The guide is the guide, okay? And that's the thing, because, the saying, a person's favorite word is their name, right? Or something like that, or how did Bono say it? I liked the sound of my own voice. So everyone wakes up thinking about them. So, it's my job to tap into what they really want. And because me being the guide, right? Because if they're my students, I'm the guide. I'm not, yes, I'm helping them, but I'm not the hero. That's not my job. I can't do anything for them. I can't make them practice. I can't practice for them. Same thing with the coaching clients. If they want to get to certain gigs, okay, here's the roadmap and here's the steps you take. And I can help them, but if they're not going to help themselves, well, you wasted your money. And so that's why I'm very picky on who I choose to work with. And that's the thing, if you ever get into the teaching or the coaching field, you'll notice real quick that there's two types of people or customers or clients. Ones that you literally have to do everything for them and hold their hand. And then there's people that they just need the direction, and then they're off to the races. But they want you along. Like they want you along for the ride. Just so they have that comfort, And that's what I do. Okay, and that's why the doorways of no return are really important. It's like, well, are you sick of your 9 to 5? Are you sick of, that's my job to kind of bring it out of them. Hey, are you tired yet? I was just talking to my my son-in-law, my stepson, okay? And I'm not going to mention any names, but he's in a particular relationship, right? And I just had a conversation with him, and I didn't tell him what to do. I just told him what the outcomes would be. And it wasn't very good because, the other person is being a little not so great. I'm not trying to discredit that or be nice about it, but I'm not trying to spill the beans either. But, I just said, hey, bro, are you tired yet? And it insinuates that there needs to be a change, doesn't it? But I didn't tell him what he needs to do, right? I might suggest, hey, you might want to make some pivots here. Because, that's the thing. When and in this situation, there's a doorway of no return. He's had enough, and I get it. And people come to those particular, oh, that was bad. I totally, yeah, I should have put a pop filter on this. I totally popped it, like pop. Yeah, there it is again. I'm totally playing with my microphone. You guys are like, I'm going to turn this off. I hate this dude. He sucks. Anyway, it's my job to look for those doorways of no return because it's the most important. It's the most important thing you could ever listen for. And by the way, if you talk too much, especially with your students or your coaching clients, bro, I'm telling you, nothing will turn people more off faster than you talking about yourself. It is all about them. And that's the thing. That's why the doorways of no return, like, you're starting to speak their language. And I want to tell you a story. I like stories. So here was my doorway of no return. Long ago, I was teaching at a few music schools, right? This is when I was first starting out, right? And I had been in that particular industry for like 10 years, okay? I was just a regular music teacher. Nothing wrong with that, but I like having my own thing now. It's a lot more fun, and I can do it better than most people in my head. So, all right, check it out. So, at this particular music school, okay, actually at both, I noticed that people didn't really know how to run these places, right? And it was too, like, the customer was always right. That's not always true, by the way, okay? Because they'll try to run your life. You don't want that either. So anyway, so basically what happened was we were doing a recital, and it was one of those things where very similar to my showcases that I put on for my students, where I bring in professional musicians to play with the students, right? We're actually having one on May 31st. It's going to be a lot of fun. It'll be videoed and all that, so everyone can see it. But we were doing a very similar thing, right? And I was playing a bass because we didn't have a bass player, because I know how to play a little bit of bass. So I did. And we had my buddy Nick on guitar. And we did everything from Sleep Token to Nirvana to Metallica to Elvis, everything, you name it, there was no teacher protection because something happened with one of the moms, and it was so stupid. And I'm not going to mention what it was because it's irrelevant. It doesn't even like need a comment, or it doesn't even need any kind of attention. That's how dumb it was. But what had happened was she started freaking out, and of course the owner, she was running the show at the time, and you could tell she's not used to getting heat, right? Who was getting used to getting heat was the director and the admins. So the admins bore the brunt of things. So what happened was she started freaking out, and with this owner, she went from, oh, this is going great, because it was great, to, oh crap, like what happened? Like, oh, maybe this is not so great. No, it was. You just let someone else, talk you into this person's bad. And that person was me. I'm here going, do you see my relationship with the students? You're a fool if you don't see it. So anyway, the point was, she let the story goes, she let this person run the show, and basically I had enough, because I'm like, wow. So this person could literally, this mom could totally convince you that I'm the bad guy in the situation. And I mean, which didn't make any sense. I'm not going to mention what it was because it doesn't matter. But, it went fantastically until it didn't, until this person started complaining and throwing a fit. And unfortunately, it ended up me being the bad guy. And, and I got to say, it went from having a great relationship with that particular owner to I'm literally a piece of garbage. And I'm here going, wow, like I'm trying to help your students and your school. Like by the way, I brought all the equipment. So the keyboards, the bass, the PA stuff, you name it. And it was amazing. Like the students were great. Like it was professional stuff. Okay. So let me tell you something. I had enough, because that had happened too often. And it just seemed like every time I was trying to invest in someone else's business, right? Music school, it just turned out to be unprofitable. And that's when I said, you know what? I've had enough. And this is after like I had done all the big gigs and all that stuff for a long time. So I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna, because I have my own thing going on teaching wise, and it was right before I went into coaching full time, right? So I was like, all right, my particular business is gonna get the attention now. And you know what? When I do get hit up by certain people who, music school owners who want to hire me, the first thing I say is, well, that depends what you would need me for and the financial opportunity. Really, the answer is I don't have the time, but I'm interviewing them, and that's what the doorways of no return do for you. You start to question the other people, and that's kind of good because they think that they're interviewing you. Actually, it's the opposite. When you get to that point of the doorways of no return, you start looking at people like, hey, are you going to treat me right? Especially if you have your own thing going on. I mean, that you don't want to be double-minded and have to take care of two particular businesses, someone else's and yours. And they'll be able to tell, like, oh, he's big time. Like, in other words, like, he's been through it. Like, this is not his first rodeo. And that's why they hire young people that just came out of college, because they don't know anything and they're super wet behind the ears. And they, so anyway, I don't want to beat this to a dead horse, but what I'm saying is, you know what I'm talking about. You know what this feels like because you're human just like me, right? You've had your doorway of no return, whatever that was, that I've had enough and I'm going to start my own thing. And you should. And if you want to go gather high-paying gigs, you should, because that's what I encourage people to do. That's what people hire me for. Now, what I don't do is I don't get them for you. I show you the roadmap, and it's when let me tell you something. When people do, and there's a few of them that have done it, once they do what I show them, they get results, and they're like, oh my God, I need to have you in my back pocket. And they're right. And there's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that. Let me tell you something right now, good friend. There is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you wanting more. Okay? There's nothing wrong with you wanting high-paying gigs. And I think you should go for it. If you're one of these people that has gone through the doorway of no return, okay? And usually it's a super big pivot shift. Like big. Like something like just like you've had it. You know what I mean? It doesn't need to be catastrophic either, but to you it is. And I mean, listen, come on. What do you have to lose? Let's be honest. And I'm sure you have all kinds of excuses, don't you? Oh, but I have to pay rent. I have to do this. Listen, I teach all types of people how to do this, even having a 9-to-5 job. And then when they realize they can quit their job after a while, they're like, oh my God. And I go, yeah, because the maths. The math adds up. It's not that difficult. So, for example, let's say you have frustration. You're like, oh, I really need to get onto a cruise ship, right? And this is after the point of no return. But then you're like, you come across a villain, an obstacle, like, oh crap, I realized I came out of music school and my sight reading blows because no one really taught me very well. Or you just get cold feet, or you freak out and you just when it comes time to do it, you're like, oh crap. And you know what? I get it. And maybe that could be a point of no return as well. Like, oh man, I've had it. And then you find someone to help you. This is all common stuff I've seen and still see all the time. And they're so easy to fix. They're so easy. I'm telling you, friend, it's super easy. Getting high-paying gigs is not hard. It comes down to, what are you willing to do? Are you willing to promote yourself and get in there and get dirty? And I don't mean hustle. Hustle's crap, okay? I can show people how to do this in very simple ways and very easily with very little effort. It's not hard. And that's the key is, simple, effortless. I mean, you still have to do work, but you know what's going to come with these high-paying gigs? Your own time, right? A better life, right? You'll be able to start a family, okay? You'll be able to pay for things. You'll be able to travel. I mean, you'll be able to buy your girlfriend or wife things that she wants. I mean, doesn't that sound great? Like, come on. We all have those point of no returns, those doorways of no returns, right? Come on. Like, we all have them. Like, we're all the same. We're not created equal, but we're the same. So, I mean, it's really not that difficult. This thing's a lot more easier than we make it. And really, it's our excuses that get in the way. I don't know if you know that, but yeah, it's our excuses that get in the way. And you know what? Once you break those excuses, you realize, oh, this is easy. Well, yeah, it is easy. It's not difficult. I don't know about you, but I've had those villains where I'm like, oh man, there's an obstacle. I gotta, how do I do this? But you know what? Let me tell you something. I find that when I have a coach or a mentor or somebody, things just break through. I don't know what it is, but I see it with my own students and coaching clients. Here's something in my life. I'm working with a holistic health person, doctor, right? Dr. Wallace, he's called, okay? That's his name. And I got to tell you, I got a diagnosis that wasn't so great. And I'm like, oh, I got to do something about this. It wasn't like life-threatening, but it could be if it got out of control. If I had just ignored things, it wouldn't be good. But it wasn't like cancer or anything. Like, it was just, okay, like, I got to get this down. And so anyway, I thought, okay, maybe I should just, go with this guy. And he showed me everything. I swear to God, he took 2 hours to go down the blood work with me. You talk about a guide, right? That's fantastic. I mean, he showed me the points that I needed that needed fixing. And if I do all these things, this is what the result will be. In other words, I'll be upbeat. My numbers will go down. It'll be great. And you know what? I'm working with him. I paid a little money, but you know what? Listen, what good am I if to my wife or my students or my coaching clients if I'm not around? Right? Or if I'm sick? I'll still be around because, again, it's not life-threatening. But, if I'm sick and not able to provide a value because I just, lived like the devil and just did whatever I want and hell with the consequences, whatever the hell. But, hey, look, this guy's really helping me. I mean, and I'm so thankful for it. And let me tell you something. All the guides that have ever helped me in the past, my mentors, all those people, let me tell you something. They deserve our utmost gratitude. Let me tell you something. Because they take time out of their lives to help, So, yeah. And so, shameless plug, the way I help people build their, as a guide, okay? So I'm just going to, get into what I do, what I offer, because if I can't offer you anything, I can't help you, and I'm here to serve. That's my deal. Okay, I'm not here to sell anything. I'm here to serve, right? So let's get that out of the way. And either you want to get on or you don't. So here's my chance, and here's how I help people. I run gig-ready drummer challenges and coaching programs, right? And I'll leave those particular links in the description below, and you could see if the gig-ready drummers are right for you. But the gig-ready drummer is a 5-day drummer challenge where I show you the blueprint and the roadmap of what I've already talked about in these videos of how to get those high-paying gigs and what the directions you can go in. It's so easy. It's so easy. And, of course, the coaching program is where I put that into action, like literally whatever a client wants to go get, we go get, together. So I just guide them, But that's what I run. I run challenges and coaching programs, right? So listen, guides are important, or you can call them coaches, I suppose, but whatever. It's all relative. It's all the same thing. But you know what? Having a coach or a guide is so important. It's so important. And you know that if you've watched any movies. Come on. There's always a guide in the movie, right? So anyway, that's a shameless plug right there. So if you're interested in taking the Gig Ready Drummer Challenges where I help drummers build successful careers that they could be really happy with and make a lot of money doing, I mean, that's a great life, because that's survival right there, right? So anyway, that's all for today. I just wanted to get into the doorways of no return, and because we're all human at the end of the day, right? And we shouldn't be ashamed in our needs and wants and our desires. And I mean, it's not a bad thing to go after what you want. The only reason you think so is because society's told you so, and you realize, and by the way, people, that's the reason why people are going to the pharmacy when they get to 40 or 50, because they realize, oh crap, like I've run my body into the ground, stressing out about my 9 to 5, because your needs are never met, right? So of course you're gonna freak out. Your body's gonna finally say, I've had it. Anyway, that's all. I'm not trying to go down a fear mongering here. I'm just telling you what happens. Anyway, so good friend, it was fun chatting with you, and I hope you got a lot of value out of this video. So looking forward to the next one. Bye bye for now.